Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review here for basically The Babysitter 2. It's called The Babysitter Killer Queen. It came out in 2020. And let me tell you this, I love the first one. I think it's pretty solid. Pretty solid flick. Really fun flick. People like Robbie Amell really made that movie fun. The main chick who played the babysitter of the title, really good. Main kid, Judah Lewis, who's also in this film, really good. Really enjoyed it a lot. I haven't reviewed it here on the channel. I will at some point. But the other day I went to visit my mom, and we decided to watch The Babysitter Killer Queen about a week or so ago. And I have to tell you, now, this is directed by Mick G, who I also love, who did Cheaper by the Dozen 2, I believe. He did Terminator Salvation. He did the first Babysitter film. And I think his kind of style for like the Supernatural TV show, for example, it works. I like him a lot. I think he's like if you had Zack Snyder be less artistic, that's what this guy is. Now, that's not an insult, because I love Zack Snyder, and when I say less artistic, I mean less slow-mo type of shit. And if you don't hate that, or if you do hate slow-mo, Mick G will be much more up your alley, I would say. So Babysitter is interesting. The first movie is very wild, about a girl and her group of friends who try to kill Judah Lewis's character, who's a young boy being babysat as like a young teen. Well, this film goes quite a few years ahead of time. This is 2020. This is kind of an 80s throwback film, too. So you have elements of things like that with the music and whatever, which is great. This movie went in a direction that I never would have thought that it would have went. And it's kind of surprising, frankly. At the end of the first film, of course, the main girl, the babysitter herself, her body goes missing. That's kind of a spoiler, but her body goes missing. She may or may not be dead, we don't know. Judah Lewis grows up over the next couple of years, and he's in high school, and he kind of is estranged from everybody else. He's not really a popular kid by any means, but he's not really like a completely bullied kid or anything, but he is what he is. He's a cool kid. Judah Lewis pulls a great performance here, just so you know. Great actor. I really think he's going to go places one day. Kind of like a Josh Hartnett type of dude. Anyway, he's in high school. He gets invited to a party by his best friend, and it's kind of like out at like a lake, you know? And things go horribly wrong, mainly because this film deviates a lot from the first film. The first film was a straight up kind of comedy, horror, slasher, thriller type of thing, and it's wild. It's zany. It's like Home Alone, but even better in some aspects, you know, without the Christmas stuff. This film goes in this route of going a little bit supernatural, and that's not going to hit a lot of people the right way. A lot of people are going to be really mad about that, and I will understand 1,000% if you are. But for me, I didn't really hate it. The more I was kind of surprised that they were going that route, I was a little shocked, a little stumped. I hadn't heard anything about this film going into it, like I said, and finding out the direction they were going here was a little weird, you know? It kind of surprised me a little bit. The film itself is never boring. The film itself is pretty fun most of the time. I had a good bit of laugh through this. It had a lot of stuff to make you actually laugh. I feel like I'm so all over the place because I am, because the film is all over the place as well. It doesn't really know exactly what it wants to be or what it wants to be faithful to. It's trying to be a teen comedy, it's trying to be a horror movie, a slasher sequel, a thriller sequel. It's trying to be so many things, and then deviating from what the first film was into a supernatural realm is a little much. It's a little much. However, with that being said, there's quite a few returning cast members that I really like a lot, and I really thought brought some fun here. Even though there was way too much CGI. Way too much CGI. There is some fair, decent practical effects here when they're here, but a lot of the time it's CGI stuff, and it sucks. There's so much CGI in here, it just ruins this movie for me. The music is really good. Like I said, it's kind of like the first film, an 80s throwback, appreciation, new wave type of movie. And I like that a lot too. I feel like the style of Mick G really suits that kind of thing. It's something that I think worked really well in the rooster scene from Terminator Salvation. It just shows what Mick G can do when he's at the best of the best and when he has a certain kind of score to work with for his movies. The editing and everything work really well here as well for that. All of it complements itself really well. But as a movie, do I like it as much as the first film? Hell no. Absolutely not. It doesn't even come close to me to what that first movie was. That first film was really special. And the fact that I heard person after person after person on YouTube talk about this constantly, that first movie. And to never hear anybody talk about this to the point I didn't even know it existed until this year is surprising in 2022. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this movie, but it's got some problems. The writing is interesting. The characters are interesting. The character choices are very interesting for the writing. Like I said, there's too much CGI. The music is fine. The look of the film is, to me, cheaper looking than the first film because of the way we tell this story, because of the way we go about certain events in this story, the supernatural stuff. The look of it is a little cheap because of what they have to do here and all the CGI involved here. The first film feels bigger than it should feel for what that kind of movie is. It's just a homebound, stuck-in-the-house slasher movie that's also a comedy and a horror movie. This film feels like it broadens too much. To me, it broadens and it branches out way too much, further than it needed to, further than the budget needed to be. Almost like they had too much budget, in my opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of this one, but like I said, I don't really hate it. I don't want you to think I hate this film, but it's a very, very debatable misstep. Depending on what part of it we're talking about could be a big misstep. I don't think it's an entire big misstep, but I think some parts of it kind of are. Some parts of it stretch out too far. But if you really like the first film, you should see this, is what I would say. Because you might be really surprised by how much more you might enjoy this than I did, or than a lot of people did. It seems like a lot of people are like me and feel like this film is kind of fine. Just above average, you know, just above average, just slightly. If I had to rate The Babysitter Killer Queen, that's the title, right? Yeah. I keep thinking Killer Bee, I don't know why. If I had to rate The Babysitter Killer Queen on a 5-star basis, I'd give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It's a fine, well-made movie for what it is, but it has a lot of issues that I have problems with. But that supernatural deviation, like I said, it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way because it confused the hell out of me when it first happened. Anyway, what do you guys think? Put your thoughts and comments down below if you've seen this movie. What do you think about it? And by the way, I do recommend seeing that first film first before you watch this because there's so much that happens there that will not hit the heartfelt impact that this movie has or tries to have at times because you need to see that first one. There's so many things that happen there that matter so much for this to make sense. There are a couple of things involving the main babysitter from that first movie that I don't really like what they did here. Anyway, it's not a complete loss. It's a solid flick for the most part. Anyway, have you seen it? What do you think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about, what is it called again? The Babysitter Killer Queen. I can't even remember the title. That should tell you everything you need to know. Anyway, the locations being on an island, or island-esque, desert-esque looking thing. I don't know how much I like that for this movie. Oh, also, I forgot about a subplot. There's a subplot involving the parents in this movie, who I absolutely cannot stand. I hate all of them. I think all 3 of them suck. Yeah, there's 3 different parents in this movie. They're all awful. I can't stand them. Especially the one guy. You'll know who I'm talking about. If you watch this, you'll understand who. Anyway, those people, that writing is horrible. They should be deleted. It's like the first Michael Bay's Transformers movies type of writing for those parents. So if you hated that, you might hate this too. Anyway, what do you think? Put them down below. Let me know, guys. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Goodbye.